flashing on your screen. You can also write to us on WhatsApp. Both the numbers are available for you to send in your queries. But before we move on with the show, it was a tough day for the Dalal Street, with both Sensex and Nifty falling almost 2%. In fact, the index fell to June 2024 levels and recorded its longest monthly losing streak in 28 years, falling for the fifth consecutive month, a trend that has not been seen since November 1996. And some of the key factors affecting investor sentiment are Trump tariffs, continuous FII outflow, where in just 2025 so far, they have sold equities worth 1.13 lakh crore. And there are weak global markets as well. Also, the broader markets were badly beaten too, with Nifty mid-cap 250 cracking 2% and Nifty small-cap 150 declining almost 1.9%, Varsha.
Yeah, and if you actually look at the sectorial picture as well, all sectors fell, with Nifty IT plunging the most. In fact, IT recorded the worst day in 2 whole years. Infosys, Bharti Airtel, TCS, ICICI Bank and M&M weighed down the Nifty 50, while HDFC Bank, Coal India, Trent and Hindalco managed to lead some support. Now, the interesting point here is market mayhem. We would like to call this the huge panic in the market that we saw today. And the last few months we have seen constant sell-off. And February was the month where we have seen the most sell-off in the market, and new money is in the fear whether to start investing or not, thinking that market may fall much from the levels currently that we have seen, while existing participants want to sell off and keep the cash in. So today being the last day witnessing panic selling, leading to an atmosphere of extreme fear versus extreme greed that we saw 6 months back, definitely the tables have turned. Now, despite the pain that we saw today, Manish from MK Investments told us that Nifty 50 is not portraying correct picture of pain in the market, and that the correction is suggesting that we are close to the bottom. Let's see how far the bottom is. Until then, continue to invest wisely and patiently. Now, with this, I would like to invite or welcome our guest for the show. We have Chokhalingam, who joins in for the fundamentals, and Gaurav Sharma, who joins in for the technical. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. And let me take to the first query, which is from Annamalai, who is from Tamil Nadu. He says that he's holding 110 shares of Natco Pharma at an average price of rupees 1,130, and he says that he's a long-term investor and don't mind holding the stock for 3 to 5 years, and he's asking if he can start averaging by buying more. Now, Natco Pharma is an interesting company. The business model, if you see, revolves around actively challenging patents held by innovative pharmaceutical companies, allowing them to quickly launch the generic version of those drugs. And eventually management is optimistic when it comes to all your GLP-1 products, that is your weight loss products. But since our viewer has a 3 to 5 year time period and he can still hold the stock for 3 to 5 years, let me go to Mr. Chokhalingam. What is your view, when it comes to Natco Pharma?
Yeah, there are 2 problems with the Natco Pharma. One is that historically the company fundamentals as well as stock price are extremely volatile. It lacks consistency in both revenue and profits as well as in stock prices on the market. So, which is a matter of little concern. But more important concern is that over 90% of the sales are to the US. So therefore, my suggestion is that hold on the stock and wait for entire March month, because there may be a little more pain in the small and mid cap for another 2 weeks. And secondly, it is better to wait and see eventually what is the policy measure from Mr. Trump on India's pharmaceutical exports to US. So therefore, I would give a hold call in the short term.
Okay, understood. And now we have Amit. He's the first caller of this evening. He's calling us from Hyderabad. Hi, Amit. Good evening.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Please ask away your question.
I'm holding 1,850 shares of Sagility,
Okay.
and I will hold it until 10 more years. My query is short term in the sense, can I add more given the fall in the market?
Okay, got it. Very, very precise. Gaurav, I'll take this one to you. Amit holds 1,850 shares of Sagility. Although he wants to hold on to these shares for the next decade or so, he's asking if this is a right time to buy more units of this company. Sagility has been down and is also widely exposed to the US markets. So do you think the stock is going to be a little vulnerable from the short term?
Yes, short-term volatility will of course be there, but as well, what we have seen today in the broader IT sector as well, it has been the worst hit among the worst hit sectors. And why not so? The reciprocal tariff comes in and additional uncertainties also pan up. But having said that, since the viewer is having a view of over an year or so, yeah, certainly he can consider this stock as it is already a lot beaten down, and it is pretty much close to its supports 45 odd levels. Seems pretty much likely in the immediate near term. That is where he should consider adding up to his current positions.
Got it. Our next caller is Venkatesh. He's from Chennai. Hi, Venkatesh. Please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, my query is on Bharat Electronics BEL.
Okay.
I
And you-
purchased 1,351 quantity at the
Okay.
rate of 270. Average rate is my
Okay.
average price is 270.
Got it. And when did you purchase these shares?
Hardly previously 15-20 days back, Vikas advised to average it at the time I purchased some shares.
And what is your
And
view? You want
day
to...
before yesterday, I purchased another some shares. So my view is for long term and short term both. I wish to know. I can keep it for long term also, no issues for me.
Got it. So, I will actually go to both our guests for this query, since Venkatesh has both long-term and short-term view. So his question is that he has Bharat Electronic shares, 1,351 shares at rupees 270 each, and he wants to know whether he should average it out more, or sell it out. Your view when it comes to Bharat Electronics. Let me go to first Mr. Chokhalingam. Any fundamental view that you have on this stock?
Unfortunately, even after this severe correction, it is still stretched in terms of valuation. But certainly, since it's a long-term call, definitely one can hold on. Within a year or two, there are fair chances that it can even cross 350 once again. So long-term hold, but all stretched valuation, the stock which have stretched valuation, I would suggest investors to wait at least for another 2 weeks. Let us see how far the downfall continues. My fear is that it might continue for 2 more weeks. So therefore, since it is a stretched valuation, in the short term, I would say just to hold. Post 2-3 weeks, one can consider accumulating these kind of stocks.
Got it. So long-term hold from Mr. Chokhalingam. While Gaurav, let me come to you on the technical part of the question. How are you seeing Bharat Electronics when it comes to charts?
See, Bharat Electronics is a public sector enterprise, and as most of this space has been deeply beaten down, and it is among the laggards, I would say, and this stock is no different. So, considering it is currently quoting at around 247 levels, the supports are placed nearby at 240. So, yes, slight accumulation can be done. As the investor looks for both a trading as well as a long-term perspective, Mr. Chokhalingam has already addressed the long-term one. So, as far as short-term trading is concerned, yes, he can consider some accumulation at this point, keeping a closing stop below 238.
Okay, got it. Noted. And now we have Krishna. He's calling us from Odisha. Hi, Krishna. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. What's your question today?
I am holding Bharti Airtel,
Okay.
20 shares at the rate of 1749 a piece.
Okay. And since when
I
do you
bought
hold
it,
these?
I bought it on 23rd September 2024, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
And a couple of technical experts opined that the stock would come to 1,200 rupees a piece. Is there any truth in it? How are the technicals for this stock? I want to wait 3 to 6 months. If the chart shows progress, if it is going to touch 1,200, I will sell it on Monday to minimize my loss, ma'am.
Got it, got it. Understood your question, Krishna. And we will get our technical expert to answer this question. So, Gaurav, I'd like to ask you about Bharti Airtel. Krishna holds 20 shares of this company at 1,749. And he has noted the fact that when he had bought these shares back in September 2024, a couple of experts had opined the fact that, the share price would drop to 1,200 levels. Do you think there is any truth in that? And how soon could we see that fall if there is some truth in the fact that, he mentioned just now?
See, Bharti Airtel is among those stocks of Indian equity market as of now which have outperformed the benchmark. It hasn't fallen much. If we simply look at its recent top, which is somewhere around 1760, 1780 odd levels, and the currently stock is quoting around 1570 after a 5% dip, which happened today when the market dipped over 400 points. If we negate today's move, this was a pretty much of a very healthy chart, both on the long term as well as for the short term. Now coming on to his query of specifically that whether the stock is heading towards 1200, the answer is as of now, no, I do not see the stock heading anywhere close to that level. Rather, I would suggest him he should utilize the ongoing decline to start accumulating the stock if he gets a chance to somewhere see the stock around 1520 odd levels.
Got it. Well, moving on, we have next caller, Ali, who is from Bangalore. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the show, and please go ahead with your query.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
I am holding FDC Limited.
Okay.
Pharma stock.
Yeah.
So 300 shares I am holding at the rate of 510.
Okay. And
So this stock on an average, like 20% return has given, like if I see previous 3 years. So previous quarter results are like it was not good actually. Sales as well as profit decline, average 50% it is declined. I want Mr. Chokalingam sir's view on the stock.
got it.
So I'm incurring the huge loss actually.
Right, got it. Well, Mr. Chokalingam, this query is specifically for you. Ali from Bangalore, he is holding FDC Limited, which is a pharma company mostly into anti-infectives products. So he has 300 shares at 510 rupees a piece, and he wants, currently if you see the Q3 numbers have not been as expected when it comes to FDC Limited, and he wants to know your view considering the fundamental analysis that you have done on FDC. What should he do with his stock? Currently he's having, he's into losses.
Yeah, almost 99% of the investors are in losses. It doesn't matter which stock you have invested. So it's a quality stock. We have a buy recommendation. We have a coverage, active coverage. We also, invested post our recommendation personally. I like this stock because the management has been excellent in rewarding the investors in terms of doing lots of buyback in the last 7-8 years, and a strong balance sheet. Free cash is more than 1,000 crore, and 84% of the sales are from the domestic market. So it is surprising that in this meltdown, even stock like FDC got punished more than what it deserves. So in my view, if you look at not only my view, if you look at in the marketplace, many of these branded formulation companies which sell in the domestic market, they trade at even 4 to 6 times the enterprise value to annual branded sales. So whereas this stock is little less than 2.8 times if you see the enterprise value to domestic formulation business. So considering all this and also considering the fact that two R&D centers are big R&D centers are within the heart of Mumbai city, I believe there is a lot of intrinsic value for the stock, and we continue to reiterate our buy recommendation on FDC Limited.
Okay, got it. And now we have Sagar. He's calling us from Bengaluru as well. Hi, Sagar. Good evening.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Good evening. Please ask your question, Sagar.
Yes. So I have 500 shares of Motilal Oswal at an average price of 600.
Okay.
So my intent was to add 1,000 more to it. So at what price range should I add more of it?
Got it. And for how long do you want to hold shares of Motilal Oswal?
Yeah, minimum 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years. Okay. I'll direct this question to you again, Mr. Chokalingam. Sagar holds 500 shares of Motilal Oswal at 600 rupees a piece. The stock is currently trading around 585. And on a bad day like today, it has seen an uptick of close to 2%, plus comes from the financial services space. So are you positive on the company from the long term?
Yeah, certainly, yes. They already proven their ability in creating wealth for their shareholders by building amazing business. The only problem is that we all work in the same business and we know what is the kind of stress the capital market is going through. So I would give a hold call, wait for a couple of weeks, probably post-March, one can consider buying any stock related to broking and wealth management industries.
Got it. Our next caller is Paramjeet, who is from Himachal Pradesh. Hello, Paramjeet. Please go ahead with your query.
Good evening, ma'am. I am having 100 shares of Force Motors.
Okay.
At the rate of 6,500. Want to know long-term as well as short-term view.
Got it. So, auto stocks actually hit 52-week low today. That includes your Tata Motors, Apollo Tyres, Bosch, MRF, Hero Moto, and Bharat Forge also. But talking about Force Motors, let me just go to Mr. Chokalingam. Paramjeet from Himachal Pradesh, he holds 100 shares of Force Motors at rupees 6,500 per piece. He wants to know long-term and short-term view, but first let me come to the fundamental analysis of this company. How do you view Force Motors? Will you advise him to average it out, or you want him to exit the stock completely?
I would give a hold recommendation on Force Motor, although I am a little negative on the automobile sector because we have seen the kind of performance in January. Even February, it's going to be a little bad. The industry is growing in single-digit volume growth. Recently, in the Siam conference, also a lot of discussion about the forecasting of automobile sales. Going forward, a lot of people are expressing fear that they may even grow at 1 to 2%. But still, I would suggest to hold on Force Motor, having seen its fundamentals earnings. It is really cheaply valued in relative terms. So therefore, I would give hold. In case it declines 5-10%, then it will become a buy.
So hold on Force Motors by Mr. Chokalingam. Gaurav, how are you seeing this counter on charts?
On charts, this share looks pretty attractive, actually. Even I have looked at it after a quite long time. And the consolidation at lower levels is clearly visible here. And on the weekly charts also, the stock is very well placed on the medium and the long-term charts. If the stock manages to sustain somewhere about above 7,200 mark, that comes out to be a good buying opportunity. It will result in a breakout, and thereafter 8,400 seems quite likely. I do not see the stock falling anywhere lower than 6,000 in the immediate near term.
Okay, got it. That's the view on Force Motors, and now we have another caller, Amit. He is calling us from Jammu. Hi, Amit. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. Please ask your question.
I have a query about GPPL, which I'm holding. I've just bought them a few weeks ago.
Okay.
At the price of 155.
Okay.
So they are down now, but I want to know both the long-term and the short-term view for that company, as well as the share price of it, please.
Okay. Could you please confirm the name of the stock again?
GPPL. It's Gujarat Pipavav. GPPL.
GPTL. Okay, got it. And do you want a long-term view on this one? Okay, got it. Mr. Chokalingam, I'll take this one to you, and I'll also then go to Gaurav to ask his technical analysis on GPTL. But Mr. Chokalingam, let's take your view on GPTL. What does it look like?
Yeah, Gujarat Pipavav looks good for long term for two reasons. One, already the stock is down in line with the many small caps, about 50%. Not just that is the reason, and it is, the stakes are held by a global player. And coincidentally, this morning, the global management has given a lot of bullish plans for expanding the business of Gujarat Pipavav. So, considering both facts and also considering the earnings which the company has posted in the last 9 months, I would give buy recommendation for long term.
Okay, got it. So although fundamentally Gujarat Pipavav looks like a very good stock, but Gaurav, I'd like to understand why are we seeing the kind of negativity that the stock has experienced since August of 2024?
Yes, this has been completely trading with a negative bias, and clearly lower lows are visible, rightly said, from August 2024. Rather, the market started declining a month later than that, and it has participated completely to it. No shying away. And but having said that, it has retraced quite a lot from its highs, which are somewhere around 250, close to 250 odd levels. Currently, it is trading around 126. So I do not see much of a downside here. 115 to 118 zone would act as a support point. So this is what I'm expecting in the near term. A recovery is pretty much imminent in this stock. So I would suggest if the investor is having some spare amount, then he can consider even averaging the stock at current levels.
Right. So to average the stock at current levels. Well, moving on, we have next caller, Dinesh, who is from Mumbai. Hi, Dinesh.
Yeah, good evening, madam.
Good evening. Please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I have brought today Swan Energy at the rate of 405, 500 quantity.
Okay, very brave of you to buy stocks today. But Mr. Chokalingam, let me go to you, because he has a long-term view. He has bought Swan Energy 500 shares today at rupees 405 a piece. Are you tracking the stock? Any view on this currently?
Yeah, I studied it. It's a quite attractive infra company. It's good to buy for long term. Swan.
Okay, so good to buy for long term.
Okay, and now we will take another query. Kiran has written to us on WhatsApp from Dubai. He says that he has bought 50 shares of Mahindra and Mahindra in the last couple of months at 3,000 rupees a piece. And he's asking if he can hold on to his investment for the long term. Now, he's sitting on a loss of close to 20,000 rupees from this investment. But Mr. Chokalingam, I'll take your view on Mahindra and Mahindra. The stock did see a dip of close to 5% in trade today and has been sort of, trading in a range since a very long time. But again, it's fundamentally a strong auto player. Do you think Kiran will make profits out of investing in M&M in the long term?
Certainly, yes. In the long term, it will definitely once again go beyond 3,000, no doubt about it. But my only fear is that in the short term, it might correct a little more. As I mentioned earlier, the large players are expected to grow in poor single digit in the near future. The sales of automobiles are expected to grow anywhere 1 to 4%. And within the automobile sector, unfortunately, the SUVs, which were growing even 30-35% year-on-year basis, suddenly that growth also shrunk to around 8% in the industry. So therefore, there could be little pain for M&M. Of course, a tractor is a very profitable business. Otherwise, I would have given a sell call. So, but it's a hold now in the short term. But certainly, it's a buy in case the stock falls even 5 to 8%. Then it can become an attractive buy.
Got it. Well, moving on, next caller is Narayan from Chennai. Hi, Narayan, please go ahead with your query.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Narayan. I'm calling from Chennai.
Yes, Narayan.
I would like to inquire about the and if this is to buy.
Can you just repeat your query, please?
I would like to see how the Colgate shares go on, and if the situation is correct, I can buy or not.
Okay, do you hold any shares currently?
No, I have the idea of buying it. That's why I'm inquiring the experts about that.
Okay. Mr. Chokalingam, let me get this to you because Narayan, who is from Chennai, he is interested in Colgate-Palmolive and he want to know if it's right time to enter and if you can help him with, overview of the company and fundamentals if you are tracking this company.
Oh, it's a right stock to enter, but I don't know whether it is a right time because, as I mentioned repeatedly, I am a little negative on the market till mid-March or even end of March. But it's a great company, no doubt about it, and it is close to 52-week low. Most important fact is that the oil derivatives are key inputs for packaging the toothpaste and toothbrush also. And this will be a beneficiary of moderation in the oil prices. Already oil prices are down almost 18% from 52-week high. I do expect, based on Mr. Trump's objective of increasing the oil output in the US, further significant fall in the oil prices, which will be positive for Colgate. Yes, for medium to long term, it's a great stock to buy, but timing, the investor has to decide before March 31st.
Okay. That's a view on Colgate, but gentlemen, we will have to take a short break, and viewers, keep sending in your queries on WhatsApp as well as call in on the numbers. We will be right back on Ask Profit, only on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every anlom, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
भाषण सुना, उसके बाद मेरा पहला एक्रोनिम निकाला मैंने, वो था RRR, रिस्पॉन्सिबल, रिफॉर्मिस्ट, और मैंने कहा रिवॉल्यूशनरी। हाउ डिड यू अराइव एट दिस नंबर ऑफ 12 लाख रुपीस?
हमें लगता है टैक्स पेयर उस लेवल नंबर से टैक्स भर रहा है, क्या उनको हम कुछ कर सकते हैं?
प्राइवेट सेक्टर कैपेक्स अभी तक वो इन्वेस्ट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं, जबकि आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ही बताता है कि वो कैश पाइल पे बैठे हुए हैं।
अगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है और उसके तहत लगता है कि ग्रेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट का पॉसिबिलिटी है, वो भी अच्छा ट्रिगर हो सकता है।
AI बहुत तेज़ी से आ रहा है, तो जॉब के चैलेंजेस होंगे, स्किल के चैलेंज पहले से हैं, तो जो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड का स्ट्रगल है, नौकरी मुझे अभी चाहिए,
पूरे साल का एक्सपोजर दिलाने के लिए हम इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम ले आए और इसके साथ साथ इस बजट में भी ट्रेनिंग फॉर एआई इसके लिए सेंटर्स बनाए हैं।
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company.
Welcome back to Ask Profit only on NDTV Profit. This is a show where you ask your questions and we answer them through our guests. Today we have Mr. Chokalingam, founder and MD of Economics Research. He will be joining us and telling all your fundamental queries. And Gaurav Sharma, AVP and Head Research of Globe Capital. He will be answering all your technical questions. So do call in. And let's head to our first query after this after this short break. Kamath is joining us on the phone line from Bengaluru. Hi Kamath, good evening. Kamath, are you there on the phone line?
That's right, madam. I am there on the phone line.
Okay, that's great. Please ask your question.
My question is it the right time to invest in Balmer Lawrie investment for long term? I want to invest about 2 lakh rupees in that company.
Okay, 2 lakh in Balmer Lawrie, and since you don't have any shares, right?
I just want to check with Mr. Chokalingam that is it the right time to invest.
We will definitely check with Mr. Chokalingam, but I'd like to first ask you, Kamath, do you hold any shares of this company at the moment?
No, madam. I was holding it, but then I sold it at a profit.
Okay, got it. Mr. Chokalingam, we will take your question because Kamath wants to directly know from you if this is the right time to invest 2 lakh rupees in Balmer Lawrie. The stock has seen a downfall since July 2024. It's a diversified company, is involved in industrial packaging, logistics, greasing, etc. Go ahead and give us your view.
Yeah. Balmer Lawrie Investment is a holding company of a Balmer Lawrie company. Otherwise Balmer Lawrie Investment is just a holding company. Balmer Lawrie company, we have a coverage, we have a buy call. But of course, both are good. Both give a very good dividend yield, both Balmer Lawrie Investment as well as Balmer Lawrie company. We are personally holding Balmer Lawrie company. I would prefer Balmer Lawrie company to Balmer Lawrie Investment because at current prices, the holding discount is hardly 30-35% for Balmer Lawrie Investments, which is too low as compared to peers among holding companies. But still, as I mentioned, both are good investments for the long term. Both give good dividend yield. By any chance, Balmer Lawrie Investment diverse stake in Balmer Lawrie company, then in that case, Balmer Lawrie Investment can move much faster than Balmer Lawrie company. So timing, as I mentioned, I think the right time to invest from Monday to till anywhere, till March 31st. I would personally suggest investors to spread buying till 4th week of March, so that if there is any more pain, one can get advantage of that.
Got it. Well, our next query is from Prashant, who is from Kuwait. He says that he has bought 50 shares of Max Healthcare at 1030 rupees per piece. His query is, can he hold this stock? So basically he is asking for a long-term view. Well, as far as I know, Max Healthcare, so basically now what funda is going on, that people or investors are going into hospital stocks where there is more of brownfield expansion going on rather than greenfield. And Max Healthcare certainly has is doing a lot of capex when it comes to expansion, acquiring new hospitals and expanding. So Mr. Chokalingam, let me come to you on this, since Prasad has a long-term view, or rather long-term purpose for this stock. How are you viewing this stock? Do you track it?
I don't track it actively, but I have looked at the fundamentals. After the recent significant correction, one can hold it. As you rightly mentioned, the health sector has become, hospital sector has become most attractive sector for foreign investment. In fact, in the last 1 year, almost 50% of the FDI has gone into hospital-related stocks, businesses. So yes, it's a good to buy for a long term.
Got it. And on that note, Mr. Chokalingam and Mr. Gaurav, we are running out of time, because thank you so much for joining us today and answering all our queries. And viewers, we are getting live visuals of NDTV Auto Awards at the moment that are underway. Let's cut across to it directly.
This is the award for the dealership in the fast lane. Hi. Good, good. So we'll just wait for that envelope to come. I hope you're having a good time. The rain gods are also right here blessing us. Hope it settles. Meanwhile, if we can have a mic, if we can't have the envelope, I'll quickly chat with Garima. Else we can have the envelope. Garima, you're a rally driver and a lifestyle influencer. When did you start, and how is it going for you?
So my journey started very, when I was a kid, when my dad taught me driving. So the love for cars and driving started then.
Okay.
I've been rallying. I've been into INRC and all. So
lovely.
I think it's raining, so I think
yeah, what an honor to have you. Now we'll quickly announce the winner. It's Urs Cars. Can we have the representative on the stage, please? And if we can have the representative of Urs Car, please, very warm welcome, sir. And we will be shifting the venue to Shah Jahan. So after this one, please, sir, come on the stage. After this, we'll be shifting this event to Shah Jahan. So a quick announcement there. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, ma'am. Can we have the award to give away, please? The trophy. We'll quickly do these pictures and rush to Shah Jahan. A little to your center. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Garima. Thanks a lot.
To the Shah Jahan Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Shifting this to Shah Jahan Hall. Once again, a quick announcement. We'll be shifting the event to Shah Jahan Hall. See you guys there.
Let's just talk about markets a little bit, since we saw a lot of panic today in the market. Over 450 of Nifty 500 stocks decline in Feb, and Nifty records longest monthly losing streaks in 28 years. Nifty falls for 5th month in a row, longest losing streak since November 1996. All sectoral indices record losses in Feb. Realty, IT fall the most, and Nifty Realty records worst month since COVID, that is March 2020. Nifty IT records worst month since April 2022 in 35 months, and Nifty FMCG records longest monthly losing streak since inception. But let's also get in some expert opinion on that note. We spoke to some leading market voices like Harold Van of HSBC, Tahir Badshah of Invesco MF, and Manish Sonathlia. Listen in.
money is moving in the direction of the United States, but that is changing as well. So if we see that money is moving out of the US and bond yields come off, then money would go back into emerging markets. That could be a first positive for markets such as India. I mean, it would be positive for other markets as well. If I talk to foreign investors, the key concerns that come up are twofold. One is, what if there's something really bad with Indian earnings? Maybe it's worse than we think it is. That is just normal that comes up. If earnings are being downgraded, people just don't know where the bottom is. But the comparison we, for example, make is with Indonesia. Indonesia invested a lot, like India has done over the last couple of years, infrastructure, roads and railroads and ports and these sort of things. And that has led to increased competition domestically and a decline in margin in certain sectors. So is that something that will play out in India as well? That's uncertain for now. But I think it's fair to say that most of the earnings downgrades we've seen. The other concern that foreign investors have is, what are the locals are doing? Because if they don't really want to buy this market anymore, there could be that there's further downside here. So the foreigners are looking at the locals are looking at the foreigners. We still are not clear where the earnings are ending up. As you say, rightly say, some money has flown back into the US over the last couple of months or so. But I think that might be changing, actually.
From the domestic side, I would like to argue that some of the requirements which the market has been looking for, especially from the point of view of restoration of growth, as well as in terms of, somewhat milder regulation, again, from the objective of trying to ensure that growth makes a comeback, have been put into motion, both in terms of, whether it be in the form of interest rates or whether it be in the form of, regulatory moves by the RBI and so on, and trying to ensure that liquidity in the system is improved and so on. We all know about that. I think some of these things will probably take a little bit of time to percolate down into the system. My sense has been that, we are going to see this first half of calendar year 25 continue with some of these things. I think the bigger problem is the global overlay at this stage. I would like to think that some of the domestic counter-cyclical measures have probably already been taken in order to, restore back growth. Whether it proves to be cyclical or structural, we'll have to see. But at least we can, there are some of these measures which are probably, are likely to start paying off as we roll forward. But I think the narrative globally is obviously against us, is against most emerging markets at this stage, including ourselves, and especially when we have been at the other end of the spectrum as far as valuations are concerned. I think that is resulting in what we are seeing in front of us on a daily basis today.
I, by and large, genuinely believe that bulk of the froth is out of the markets, whether you consider the mid and small cap, whether you consider the large cap, whether you consider Nifty 500. Broadly, we are done. That's not to say that tomorrow onwards the markets are going to have a V-shaped recovery. It's going to be a U-shaped recovery. And, the things that are troubling the markets right now, apart from the valuation part, which was there, that has got corrected. Valuations are no longer a problem. Now, the not known factor is basically the tariff issue. And if we have done some work on this, and we believe that this tariff thing, again, is blown out of proportion. When it comes to reciprocal tariffs, of course, we'll see the final print whenever that comes, as far as India is concerned. But I think the differential duty is just about 5%. Of course, there are segments where the duty could be, like your agriculture will have a differential duty of 20%, or in automobiles will have a differential duty of 20%, and so on and so forth. There could be outliers, but on a weighted basis, India's basket, the differential duty is just about 5%. Whether that warrants such a scare and such a drubbing in the marketplace, I have my doubts. So all fingers crossed, but it now seems to suggest that we are actually traversing on the extremes. The world doesn't come to an end at any time. Every time it looks like that the world is going to come to an end. India is going to come to an end. But it doesn't happen that way. And, slowly and steadily, the markets will try to absorb all the negatives, and then we move forward. But broadly, all the negatives, according to me, are there in the price.
Well, while those were some very interesting news on how the market is currently poised, we have Q3 GDP growth that has come in at 6.2%. This is in line with street estimates. Agri growth compounds to 5.6%, and my colleague Pallavi breaks down the details of this data for you.
Right, India's economy grew at a faster pace than in the previous quarter, but growth was slower compared to the same quarter an year ago, and broadly, this was in line with expectations. GDP grew 6.2% for the third quarter of the ongoing fiscal year. This was compared with a revised growth of 5.6% we had seen in the July-September quarter. GVA, which strips out indirect taxes and subsidies, is also estimated to have grown 6.2% in line with estimates. Now, for the full year, GDP is estimated to grow 6.5%. This is as per the second advance estimates. This is compared to a previous estimate of 6.4%. Now, meanwhile, what's also noteworthy is that GDP growth for FY24 was revised to 9.2% from 8.2% that was projected previously. Let's also have a quick look at industry-wise trends. Agriculture rose 5.6% for the third quarter. For the full year, growth is pegged at about 4.6%. Manufacturing expanded 3.5% in Q3, and for the full year, it is projected to grow by 4.3%. Now, trade, hotels, transport and communication expanded 6.7% and is estimated to grow 6.4% for the full year. And financial services is also estimated to grow by about 7.2%. That's also what the projected growth rate for the full year is. In terms of expenditure-wise trends, private consumption is estimated to have grown 6.9% in the third quarter. Government final consumption, so government spending, led the recovery in the Indian economy with a growth rate of say 8.3%, whereas investments, as reflected by gross fixed capital formation, grew by 5.7%. All in all, a decent set of numbers, and the Indian economy finally appears to have bottomed out. However, economists caution that headwinds to the growth outlook continue to persist.
Thank you, Pallavi, for all the details. In fact, we spoke to Economist on the data released earlier today. Kaushik Das of Deutsche Bank says that the worst is over, and with policy support, the numbers will improve. Anubhuti Sai of Standard Chartered Bank explains if there's possibly is an impact on GDP numbers from US tariffs. Listen in to the experts.
Yeah, I think we expected exactly 6.2%. So it feels nice when your forecast is correct compared to the last time when all of us got a nasty surprise with GDP coming at 5.4. It basically shows that the worst is over as far as growth is concerned. I don't know what the numbers have been revised of the previous quarter. So July, September, whether it still stays at 5.4 or not. But generally, the trend is that, after seeing a sharp dip, you're seeing a sequential improvement. October, December, if it's 6.2, you'd expect January, March to be higher, around 6.5, 6.6. So it also kind of shows that, this is not a structural problem. India is going through a cyclical downturn. And in that, we have seen the worst in July, September. Also, the fact that we had elections in April, June, government could not spend that much. And then we had heavy monsoon, which led to some activities slowing down. So all that is behind us. Government has started spending now. And going forward, you should see sequentially things improving. Although the bigger point is that growth, even at 6.2, 6.5, is below the potential growth rate of 7% plus. And therefore, you need policy support to continue to make sure that this recovery in growth is sustained.
Our sense is that if there is an effective increase in tariff of 10%, then India's GDP can be lower by around 50 to 60 basis points. In reality, our sense is it will be lesser because there will be a trade negotiation, some deal would be struck, and also we need to remember that India will not be the only country to suffer from higher tariffs. So that's a downside risk which we need to keep an eye on. On a question about how urban demand is looking like, I think we have to remember that urban demand demand is going through a cyclical slowdown. We saw very good set of data coming out of urban demand till mid-2024. And if an urban consumer has bought a house or a car, it's very difficult for him to repeat it in just next 4 quarters. So our sense is this might remain a theme, but from here onwards, we don't expect much of a further downtrend.
And Finance Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey has been appointed as the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Board of India. His tenure will last for 3 years, replacing Madhavi Puri Butch, whose term ends this month. Pandey takes over SEBI at a challenging time, with stock markets sliding due to the withdrawal of foreign institutional investors. But who is Tuhin Kanta Pandey, and what challenges will he face during his tenure? Let's take a closer look at the package to find out.
The much-awaited question on who will be the next SEBI chief has been answered. Tuhin Kanta Pandey, who is the senior bureaucrat, takes on the role as Madhavi Puri Butch terms comes to an end on Friday. Pandey, who is the finance secchi, taking charge at a time when protecting the interest of retail investor in a turbulent market is key.
Pandey, set to turn 60 in August, has been appointed SEBI chief for a 3-year term. His appointment signifies a return to the tradition of appointing bureaucrats to lead regulatory bodies, with Pandey being the latest serving officer to take on a key role just before retirement. Except for his predecessor, Madhavi Puri Butch, all previous SEBI chiefs have been either IAS officers or public sector appointees. Once Pandey takes over, 3 out of the 4 major finance regulators will be led by IAS officers, with Deepak Mohanty, the pension regulator, being the only exception.
Just got the order yesterday, and the government has given the responsibility. I'll go there and join. I'll just make out, when I will go. Thank you.
A 1987 batch Odisha cadre IAS officer, Pandey brings his vast experience to the table, having served in key roles in the Finance Ministry, including a 5-year tenure as Secretary of the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. He was involved in high-profile public sector privatization cases such as the Air India sale, giving him significant experience to the workings of the equity market. Prior to this role, he was moved to the Revenue Department just weeks before the Union Budget 2025. Pandey, known for his articulate and soft-spoken demeanor, is respected for his integrity and adherence to rules. He holds a Master's in Economics and an MBA from the University of Birmingham. His leadership style is noted for being direct yet diplomatic and making his points clearly without causing offense.
One of the key challenges at SEBI will be addressing the internal issues emerged during the Butch tenure. That also includes employee unrest over HR policies. Pandey supposed to restore confidence as to show and ensure that leadership is seen as impartial and committed to regulatory excellence.
And with that, it's a wrap on this show, but do stay tuned to NDTV Profit for more news and updates.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers, and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
बजट भाषण सुना, उसके बाद मेरा पहला एक्रोनिम निकाला मैंने, वो था RRR, रिस्पॉन्सिव, रिस्पॉन्सिबल, रिफॉर्मिस्ट, और मैंने कहा रिवॉल्यूशनरी। हाउ डिड यू अराइव एट दिस नंबर ऑफ 12 लाख रुपीस?
हमें लगता है टैक्स पेयर उस लेवल नंबर से टैक्स भर रहा है, क्या उनको हम कुछ कर सकते हैं?
प्राइवेट सेक्टर कैपेक्स अभी तक वो इन्वेस्ट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं, जबकि आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ही बताता है कि वो कैश पाइल पे बैठे हुए हैं।
अगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है और उसके तहत लगता है कि ग्रेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट का पॉसिबिलिटी है, वो भी अच्छा ट्रिगर हो सकता है।
AI बहुत तेज़ी से आ रहा है, तो जॉब के चैलेंजेस होंगे, स्किल के चैलेंज पहले से हैं, तो जो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड का स्ट्रगल है, नौकरी मुझे अभी चाहिए।
पूरे साल का एक्सपोजर दिलाने के लिए हम इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम ले आए, और इसके साथ साथ इस बजट में भी ट्रेनिंग फॉर AI इसके लिए सेंटर्स बनाए हैं।
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know your company, powered by NDTV Profits Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers. Know your company at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, only on NDTV Profit.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What's the picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims?